I think this guy here is our number one corner. And I think Nate Hobbs starts in the slot, followed by Anthony Avery. I know people like Trayvon Mullen. I'm not a big Trayvon Mullen fan.
I haven't watched a ton of Yannick Ngakoue since he was with the Jaguars. I'm gonna just be 100% real with you because the dude went from the Jaguars to what the Vikings to Baltimore or vice versa. I don't remember how that transition went, but I just know he went from one purple team to another purple team, then came over to the Raiders, and then shot himself in another trade with Rock Ya-Sin. This dude is the ultimate journeyman, I believe. So, with that being said, what have you evaluated Rock Ya-Sin so far right now, and is this going to be a bigger impact than having Yannick Ngakoue, or were you in the minority of thinking that this was not that great of a trade and that you would have rather had him?
Oh, at first when we traded him, I was like, I made that face. I was like, what's going on? But what they did, not even an hour later, bro, they brought in Chandler Jones right after they traded Yannick Ngakoue, and it was literally less than an hour both news dropped. It was like, hey, Yannick Ngakoue, you're gone? Bring in Chandler Jones. And it's an upgrade in my opinion. Something that Yannick Ngakoue struggles in is run game, the run defense. He over pursues a lot, and having him next to Max Crosby, another guy that really he has a high motor, so he does do a lot of over pursuing. You can't have two over pursuing guys, and that's how our run defense has been bad. So they
Facts.
brought in a guy like Chandler Jones that's good at both. I mean, this guy is one of the best pass rushers in my opinion in the last decade. I mean, the guy's a stud, and bringing him next to Max Crosby is gonna be phenomenal. But Rock Ya-Sin, it took me a little bit of time to really learn about him because when you think of the Colts, you think of Kenny Moore, Darius Leonard, best linebacker in the league, in my opinion. By the way, and stuff
I
like
agree
that.
with you. It's not close to me.
Him and then
Fred
Fred
Warner.
Warner, and I have Bobby Wagner up there.
Mm-hmm.
But when you really look at Rock Ya-Sin, he's not that good as zone. I've noticed that. He had a 67 and a half PFF grade. I really don't like PFF that much, but when I really do see the tape as well, I do see that he does struggle a lot in zone. He was 65th among corners when that comes, but where he's very, very, very well utilized is exactly what Patrick Graham is bringing to the table into a lot of man coverage. And he had a 79 grade there. And, he was actually seventh best in fewest yards allowed in man to man. And he's the only corner in the top 10 to register more than 100 man coverage snaps. I mean, the guy was a stud. I mean, he allowed a completion percentage of 26.7%. I mean, that is something that I didn't even know until I actually looked at it. So Rock
Mm-hmm.
Ya-Sin is gonna bring a whole different dynamic. I think this guy here is our number one corner. And I think Nate Hobbs starts in the slot, followed by Anthony Avery. I know people like Trayvon Mullen. I'm not a big Trayvon Mullen fan, but I think Rock Ya-Sin becomes the number one. So not only do you go get Chandler Jones and you upgrade at that defensive end position, but then you go get a corner that we desperately, desperately, desperately needed. So I think I'm all for it. I think it does give us more to answer the question exactly. It does add more value to the defense. It gives us another body and a really good body and high potential and very young to learn under these great, great, great coaches. You see ex defensive coordinators at that secondary. I mean, Jason Simmons, and you got of course Patrick Graham. Which Patrick Graham, I know a lot of Giants fans were mad, and I'm kind of glad we got him. He's a great defensive coordinator, and I think he's going to really utilize Rock Ya-Sin to his best of his ability.
Well, that's awesome, man. I like I said, I didn't watch a ton of Yannick Ngakoue tape, but of
Mhm.
course, being an AFC South team favorite in the Jaguars, and we tend to have their number in any time that we play them. But I've seen Rock Ya-Sin do a lot of good things. I mean, he's a very physical cornerback. Can line up in the slot and do very good there. He has very quick feet. And you guys are going to need that this year, to be completely honest with you. With all the teams that have improved and have now given, some life to some of their receivers like Mike Williams and Keenan Allen is a good route runner. And then you go over to, like the Chiefs, for example, they picked up somebody like Sky Moore, and you guys already know
Oh
what
yeah.
what their offense is going to be about. So, and then the Broncos, you have Jerry Judy and KJ Hamler. Like, he's only going to help suppress that type of offensive scheme and those offensive players that are super super fast by with his physicality and also having one of the most underrated what we like to see. You got to have the feedies, man, on our show, but you know
Yeah.
he's got the feedies for sure. So I think this was a good pickup for you guys. I think Yannick Ngakoue's best days were still with the Jaguars, and you know to have
Yeah,
this guy bounce
definitely.
around from time to time to time. I know he showed flashes here and there, and some Raiders fans really didn't like the fact that you guys are getting rid of a guy within 1 year, but or was it 2 years? 1 year?
Yannick Ngakoue was only there for 1 year, but he
Yeah,
did sign a 2-year contract.
yeah. Well, which I say about the contract thing too, man, is
Mhm.
you know you could sign a 2 year contract, but all that really means is that you're on a 1 year deal. That
Yeah,
you know, and then the 1 year deals you can get cut in the middle of the season. So, uh, but yeah, contracts are funny nowadays, man. Contracts are meant to be broken. So that's some good insight, man. I was very curious on that. When I was getting the topics together last night, I was like, you know what? That was one of your guys' biggest acquisitions because you guys didn't
yeah.
have like, you know, the most big drafts out there. You guys picked up a lot of the players after the fact.